Good day, viewers and subscribers. Thank you for regularly watching our YouTube channel, The Indian Lawyer Legal Tips. Today's topic is a little offbeat and would may be a little difficult for people who are not in the law to understand what is the difference between special and general laws. However, I felt this was something that would enable a person who's looking at going for litigation to understand what works for him or her. I am Sushila Varma, Chief Consultant at the Indian Lawyer and Allied Services, and today we bring to you a discussion on special laws versus general laws. Now first, let us understand what is general law. General law refers to a body of laws that are designed to apply universally to all individuals, organizations and situations within a jurisdiction unless a special law excludes them. It establishes the broad legal framework that governs common legal issues without focusing on any specific or scenarios or subjects. Characteristics of general law would be broad applicability, general provisions, that is, it addresses issues in a very generic manner and not designed to deal with specific cases, and the general law often acts as a foundation for more specialized legal provisions. Some of the examples of general law would be the Indian Penal Code, the Civil Procedure Code, the Indian Contract Act. Now let's come to special law. What is special law? Special law consists of laws that are tailored to address specific subjects, groups or situations that are not adequately covered by general laws. Special laws are enacted to deal with unique circumstances or requirements of specific domains, ensuring a focused approach. Some of the characteristics of special law would be specific applicability, that is, it would apply to specific subjects, classes of people or unique legal issues. Secondly, it would override general law, that is, it would take precedence over the general law if there is a conflict. And thirdly, it would contain detailed provisions or rules to address the specific issues for which it is enacted. Some of the examples of a special law would be the Negotiable Instruments Act, the Consumer Protection Act, the Companies Act. All these are there to deal with specific issues pertaining to certain types of situation. Now, what is the primary difference between general laws and special laws? The answer is given in the screen below, and one would see that as far as a general law is concerned, it is more universal in nature and applicability, whereas special laws target a specific area and a specific audience. Now, let us understand what happens if there is a conflict between a general law and a special law. What happens? In such a case, the special law will prevail. That is because special law prevails over general law under the legal maxim generalia specialibus non derogant, that is, general provisions do not derogate from special provisions. This principle ensures that special laws which are more focused and detailed take precedence and they govern the same subject matter if they govern the same subject matter as general laws. Now, what are the conditions for special laws to prevail? When both laws govern the same issue, then there will be an overlap by the special laws. If there is a conflict between special laws and general laws, again, special laws will prevail. And thirdly, if there is legislative intent, that is, when the legislature expressly or impliedly indicates that special laws should override. Some of the examples that I would like to give is that in case a check bounces, while the IPC provides general provisions for fraud, the Negotiable Instruments Act, which is a special law, specifically governs the legal process and the remedies for dishonored checks. Thus, the special law prevails. Now, a question that comes to our minds is, can the general law ever override the special law? The answer is, as a general rule, it is special law that applies. However, there are exceptional situations where general law may prevail. This is, for instance, when a general law explicitly repeals or overrides a specific provision of the special law, or implied repeal, that is, if the later enacted general law is so comprehensive that it leaves no room for the special law to operate, it may override. This is rare and subject to judicial interpretation. Now let me give an illustration. If the Parliament enacts a new general law which governs financial frauds, and it expressly states that it applies to all cases including those under the Companies Act, which is a special law, then in such a case the general law may override the specific provisions of the Companies Act. Now moving on to the next question. What are some examples where special law prevails over general law? I would say the first would be the Consumer Protection Act versus the Indian Contract Act. A consumer has sold a defective product can file a claim under the Consumer Protection Act even though the Contract Act provides a general remedy for breach of contract. In such a case, the Consumer Protection Act would apply as it's a special law. Another example, Companies Act versus partnership laws. The Companies Act governs all matters which relate to incorporation of companies. However, if there is a conflict with the general partnership laws, that is the Partnership Act, the Companies Act will prevail. Similarly, Income Tax Act versus the Civil Procedure Law. When the Income Tax Department seeks to recover dues, the provisions of the Income Tax Act apply and override the general provisions of recovery that are mentioned in the civil law. Another example would be the Industrial Disputes Act versus General Employment Law. In matters pertaining to industrial disputes, it is the Industrial Dispute Act that will apply and not the general laws on employment contracts. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to say the relationship between special law and general law is guided by the principle of specificity. Special law addresses unique concerns and therefore takes precedence when there is a conflict of law. However, courts will always try to give a harmonious interpretation of laws rather than ensure there is a conflict. This ensures that the intent of the legislature is respected and justice is served efficiently. Now coming to the case laws. In 1992, the Supreme Court decided a matter R.S. Raghunath versus State of Karnataka, in which the Supreme Court held that the special law prevails over general law with the exception that a later general law may prevail over an earlier special law if it is clearly indicated that the intention of the legislature was to supersede the special law. Let us now look at a recent judgment of the High Court. This is of the High Court of Andhra Pradesh, D. Ravi Babu versus Director General of Police 2020, in which a single bench of the Andhra Pradesh High Court reaffirmed this principle. The court emphasized that when a special law provides specific procedures or rules, it overrides the general law in that context. This decision aligns with the Supreme Court's stance on the matter. Now, moving on, let us understand what are the key takeaways. When both special and general laws apply to a situation, the general law will prevail. The judiciary consistently upholds this principle to maintain legal clarity and ensure that specific legislative intents are honored. Courts, however, examine the specifics of each case to determine the applicability of special versus general, ensuring that justice is served properly. The principle is fundamental in statutory interpretation, ensuring that laws are applied as intended by the legislature, with special provisions addressing specific issues taking precedence over general ones. With this, I would like to conclude this. I would like to mention to my viewers and subscribers that please do not take this episode to be a legal advice. Applicability of special laws and general laws will be determined case by case. Hence, if you have any issue pertaining to the applicability of these types of laws, please approach a lawyer and get a clear understanding based on your facts. If you have found this episode useful, please like, share and subscribe. If you press on the bell icon, you will be notified. Thank you and continue to be part of the family of the Indian Lawyer Legal Tips. Goodbye and have a good day.